Okay, so 5 and 6 are the ones where we draw the triangle. So I have the work done out for you guys, but just as a reminder, what we do is that we take what's inside in those parentheses, we work from the inside out, and then we use what's inside to draw the triangles, and then we evaluate the angles based off that triangle we drew. So the inside piece gives us the triangle, and then that outside trig function tells us what trig function to actually take. So for 5, you should get 6 root 61 over 61. And then for 6, you should get 6/8, or if you wanted to be fancy and reduce that fraction, 3/4. Same. All right, so 7 and 8 are the ones I kind of want to focus on because those are unit circle angles. And I want to make sure that we feel good about this. They're unit circle angles and they're restricted domains. So let's talk about it. So once again, we're going to work from the inside out. I want to know the cosine of 225. Okay, so 225 is in the third quadrant, and I know cosine is negative in the third quadrant. So I just rewrote this first piece, cosine inverse. I just rewrote it. Cosine of 225 is going to be negative in the third quadrant. It ends in a 5, so that's my hint that it's a 45 reference angle. And all your 45s have the same value, root 2 over 2. So this is really asking, what's the cosine inverse of negative root 2 over 2? Now, with the restricted domains, and I kind of have them written already for us, my answer can only be between 0 and pi. So because it's negative, and cosine is negative in the second quadrant, and I can only be between 0 and pi, the first and the second quadrant, this answer is going to be 3 pi over 4. Or if we're going to use, I guess they're using degree measures. I guess we'll use the degree measure, 135 degrees. That value is between 0 and pi. It's between 0 and 180, so I know we're good. All right, same idea here with 8. So we're going to work from the inside. Sine of 330. We're just going to write the outside bit. So sine of 330, that's in the fourth quadrant. Sine is negative in the fourth quadrant. And then my reference angle between 330 and 360 is 30 degrees. So I want the sine of 30 degrees, which is just 1/2. All right, so this is saying, find me the sine inverse of negative 1/2. Now, these are my options for my angle measures between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, or right between negative 90 degrees and positive 90 degrees. So what we want to say is, okay, even though sine is negative in the third and the fourth quadrant, I want to make sure that it lives in this range between negative 90 and 90. So I know that sine of 30 is 1/2. So sine inverse of negative 1/2 should give me negative 30 degrees. All right, and that's because of the restricted domain that we have here. And if you actually put this into your calculator, you should get out 30 degrees. So that's a nice way to check your work to make sure you did it correctly. I know it says evaluate it without using a calculator, but, if you're unsure, that's a good way to just check, make sure you did the right thing.